Hello, and welcome to Life with Francy podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get the show started. On today's episode, we got the pleasure to talk to Rona Lewis, and I found her on Podmatch, a great community for podcast hosts and podcast guests to make amazing collaborations like this one. And she is the creator of Plan Instigator, Playful Mindful
Right,
Project. There
right.
you go.
Playful Mind
And
Project.
I
There you
can't
go.
wait. It's all about creativity, and I just can't wait to start this conversation with her. So, welcome, Rona, to the show. What
Thank you
is
so
life
much.
with you?
Life is great with me. Playful Mind Project is the brainchild of myself and my ex-partner, Jessica Brustad, who is also called the Funny Yogi. She's up in Seattle. And she and I started it because we are both experts in the area of purposeful and attuned play. I call myself a play instigator. I go in and help companies with their corporate culture and team engagement, things like that, especially with the fact that more and more companies are embracing the hybrid and remote work. So they need a way to stay engaged. And, we go with the trust and vulnerability and authenticity. And ignore that. That's my home phone. And then I also have my present business partner, Jeffrey Hansler, who is my partner at the Biz Souls podcast that we do. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. And tell me more about your mission. How did it start it?
Well, it's, I have a corporate background. I worked in advertising and marketing for a lot of years. I was in the media business. So we represented radio, television, cable, a lot of the traditional media. I've sold newspaper, and after I left that, I went into wellness, personal training and nutrition, and that whole realm. And I started working with corporations that way, and I got embraced by corporations because they knew from my pitch that I understood what it was like on their side of the desk. I wasn't just kind of a gym rat coming in trying to work with them to get their triceps stronger. I was able to work with all areas of their life. And I did notice that there was something missing, especially for the creative realm where they were stressed and overwhelmed. They did not have fun with what they were doing. So I kind of took a step back and said, there's a missing piece to this well-being thing. And I started to look into and research creativity, and I discovered the aspect of purposeful and attuned play. And after taking courses and seminars and things like that, I became much more educated on it and brought that to the forefront. And that is now what Playful Mind Project does. So that's how we came about it. And Jeffrey is an organizational development and sales development person, expert. And so between the two of us, we can go in and change corporate culture to one that is happier, more productive. And that's really what companies want because it affects the bottom line.
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I just come from the post office and I'm just imagining them having fun in the office. Like, no, that's not allowed in our corporation. But I
Yeah.
love your mission, and I love bringing that into play. So, yeah,
That's what
tell me
everyone
more.
says.
I
Yeah.
know, no pun intended.
You can, and pun intended, you can say that too.
So yeah,
So,
tell me more.
well, we go in, and I mean, I've done everything from keynote speeches to multi-day workshops, teaching different ways of meeting better, of brainstorming, of connecting with each other so that there is more trust. Because if you don't have that level of trust with somebody you work with, your best ideas aren't going to be shared. You have an adult mindset and a child mindset. Your inner child is always there. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to bring it out. And when we come to a situation with fear of what other people think of you, then you're not going to be as open and willing to share ideas for that fear. So what we do is allow that inner child to come out, sometimes slowly but surely, depending on everyone's personality, or in moments where we're having so much fun that it's just easy to share things. When you think about kids, I don't know if you have kids or if any of you are
Not
listening.
yet.
So think about what kids are like when they're looking for people to play with. They don't care what color your skin is, what kind of job you have, what your background is. They just want to have fun. They don't judge. They're just open and in the moment. And when you are going into a situation where you are working with other people, where you want to think about ideas, you want to push your business forward, you have to go in with that kind of open and curious mindset, just finding out about people as you are playing with them. And it just makes it more fun. People learn better and they're more open when they're happier. So that is our basic premise. And we have a blast while we do it. And there are companies that we have ongoing relationships with to make sure that their hybrid and remote workers are feeling safe enough and feel like they are part of the crew of the company family, where they don't feel siloed and lonely, and then they get paranoid where they don't know what's going on, and is the manager talking to somebody else? Am I being left out because of time differences or whatever? Now people are in multiple countries. International companies can do business easily because of online stuff. So the time difference makes a difference. And then people who are out of the country don't always get the perks that companies who begin in the United States have. They can't get insurance and all this kind of stuff. So we work with companies to as a perk in some instances where we go in and help them feel more connected to their counterparts in the United States. So it's super fun.
I love that. So yeah, any tips on how to get that creative side going?
Well, you have to stay open. You have to take the view of being curious. You have to ask a lot of questions and not judge. We live in a state of fear when we are in that adult mindset, like, oh, I have to do everything right. Part of purposeful play, we do a lot of improv. And one of the tenets of improv is pushing your partner forward, not judging, and saying the words yes and. When you use the word yes and, you are adding to someone else's idea. You're not judging it and saying, oh, that won't work. Yes, but these are the issues. So what you just did, you cut off any possible ideas that may stem from someone else's, even if it's just a little piece of it. When you stay open and curious, you will ask questions. Okay, well, how do you see this working? Tell me more about your idea. Questions are the secret to everything. So when you are sharing ideas, you ask questions. What's your idea? How can we implement yes, and what happens if we do this, this, and this? That's a great idea. We can do this, this, and this. And we go in, there's a method to our madness. There's a 5-step play method that if you go on the website, playfulmindproject.com, you will see that psychological safety is the cornerstone to anything in business, because you have to feel safe. And that feeling of safety allows you to be more open and allows for that trust and authenticity, getting along with the people you work with. Even if you don't love them, that's okay. If you respect them, that's fine. And sometimes, it's almost impossible to find a perfect work situation where someone's not going to piss you off, or there's rules and regulations that you don't love. That's okay. Sometimes the most creative things happen when you are restricted in some point or other. There's a movie that came out years ago. Was it Apollo 17? It was with Tom Hanks, and they were in space, and they were having trouble with one of their systems, and they're in this little space capsule. So the people on the ground were given, this is everything that they have in the space capsule. Make it work to help their air compressor, whatever it is. So they had to get creative and use a lot of duct tape, and they came up with a solution. They had to be innovative. And sometimes those restrictions are exactly the catalyst you need to be creative. And then there's the other side of the coin, where companies like Ben and Jerry's, they allow people to go crazy with their ice cream flavors.
No
and
shit.
They actually,
Sorry,
they have great ice
They're
cream flavors.
awesome.
Right? And they literally have an ice cream graveyard on their campus in the Northeast, where they may try a flavor for 6 months, a year, or it may not even make it to the shelves. And they literally make little gravestones for it, and they have the name of the ice cream flavor and a little poem or a little saying that, this broccoli beet ice cream had it was a worthy trial, but it didn't work. And it allows people to feel like they are a part of the entire company, that they make a difference. If it didn't work, that's okay. They were given the chance. Anytime employees are given the chance to try something new and to be shown that what they think and their opinion matters, it's going to give them more buy-in. So they want to do more to help the company.
Oh, I love
great?
this. Yes, I'm like, yes, talk more. I love it because I come from a strict side of corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my personality, my poor soul hurts in that seriousness. So as you're talking, I'm like, yes, please, I want more of that.
Let's flip it. What do you do in your corporate job?
Oh, I'm a mail lady.
Okay, so if you're a mail lady, then you're working with other people who do the same thing you do. So are you having fun while you do it? Are you talking to other people? Do you ever play games? Do you challenge each other to ways of being creative, even in your personal life? How else can you make yourself happy or bring joy to what how your life plays out? Do you guys ever do that?
Not really. we have our own cliques. It's more like high school. So we have our own cliques and whatever, and I barely spend any time with my coworkers. I do a limited amount in the office, and then my fun is on the street with my customers.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I love that. Now I get to be creative and all kinds of stuff.
Right. During the pandemic, one of the things that I used to do, which was super fun, and it was like a thing in the United States, people would take rocks, like river rocks, and we would paint them. Yeah. And we would have little faces or flowers on them. And I actually have an art background, so I do a lot of crafts like that. And so I used to collect rocks, and I would paint 10 or 12 at a time, and then I would take them out and just here and there put them on people's front stoops or whatever with no message, just to make their day a little bit nicer. And it was a creative, fun way, because I've had it happen to me, and it just makes you smile and it makes your day. So you could do something like that too. You could make suggestions to the people in your, who it's like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm just, I'm giving people wildflowers. Here's a little wildflower with your mail, or, something that will brighten their day. Or you guys could even have, it's, for lack of a better word, Secret Santa, something that you find in nature, and you do a little trade that just makes you happier. It's a way to play with nature, with the great outdoors, with, where everyone makes something that, if you cook, or you buy each other a cupcake, or, something that will brighten each other's day. And you could call it the monthly brightener, or the weekly surprise from your whoever, and people do that in business all the time. They pick a new buddy every week. It could even be just a message that says, you look fantastic today. I love the way you spoke up in the meeting. Little things mean a lot. Little things mean a lot more. When you're in a relationship, whether it be friends or a love relationship, the little things you do, writing a note to somebody, giving them a fun little gift, just because that's play. You are always playing, and it's bringing that inner child out. It's like, people get more joy giving gifts than they do receiving. And yes, everyone likes a little sparkly gift now and then. And when you think about, oh, what can I do that's nice, that will make someone else smile, doesn't that make your heart happy?
Yeah.
So little things like that in business allows you to connect to that person, and that's attuning to that person. You can see they're not in a great mood, so you think, okay, what would cheer them up? What would they like? Just talking to them. Oh, they like fishing, so I'm gonna get a little book on fishing, or I'm gonna get them a little box of, I don't know much about fishing, but little fishing lures, or something that might make their day, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, or something that will make someone else happy. It's always the way to go. Just a smile, or something nice, a note, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the rock painting stuff. Oh, it was like one of my favorite things of the pandemic, because I would see it all throughout my
I
route,
bet you
and
would.
it's just like, oh, amazing. And to see the kids' face when they find one out of
Sure.
nowhere, like it's amazing. But yeah, no, I totally can see that. And I used to bake. I used to do goodies, so cookies and
Oh,
brownies
nice.
and pound cakes. But then after all that overtime, you just want to go do your
Sure.
job and come home. And then another thing, when I was used to work at the plant, sorting the mail, we used to have a birthday club, and it was amazing. We would have like monthly cakes and goodies, and just have
Yeah,
a big party just to celebrate each other in a way, and have some fun. But yeah, it's been a while, and but yeah, I can see that, and how that can change the environment in the whole
absolutely.
office and things like that. So
Absolutely.
I love it. Your mission is like truly important.
It's super fun. And sometimes issues in the office happen because of misunderstandings, and this connection allows people to talk to a person that they may be having an issue with more vulnerability, as opposed to thinking, oh, I bet they did this, or that's I just know that this was the reason. Do you really know? Why don't you find out? Ask a question, or come in and say, when this happened, using the I method, because you never want to go in and say you did this. I was feeling a little hurt, and can we talk about this? And then the other person may say, you know what, you totally misunderstood what my point was, or I am so sorry, I'm sure I said that wrong, this is what I meant. So that this purposeful play allows for that trust and vulnerability, so you can talk to your fellow workers, which allows for greater understanding and that closeness that stops disagreements or arguments, or in their tracks, and it helps with productivity and all that kind of stuff. So super.
So yeah, before the interview, you also mentioned you have a podcast.
We do. Jeffrey and I have a podcast called Biz Souls, BIZ-SOULS. And that's our website, www.biz-souls.com. And it's a business podcast. It's weekly, and it's like the business of everything. We talk about the different emotions. We talk about process. We interview all kinds of people who have interesting jobs and their opinions on work, and we have a lot of fun. It's absolutely hysterical. We are both very funny, and I actually had a bunch of my fellow play experts on, and we explained a little bit more about that, how that goes. We had actors, we have people who invented games, people who are high up in baseball, in the restaurant business, all kinds. And 90% of them are people who I know or have known personally, and I just know a lot of really cool people. And it's really interesting. The wine business, and a lot of people don't understand how to grow and to taste and to distribute, what goes on with all of that. We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. What are ways that you can start it? We're actually we have some upcoming ones that talk about the consulting business. So there's so much to learn, and we just have a great time with it. I think we're up to episode 62, 63, something like that. So it's been a little over a year. We actually took almost a year to put it up because we were discussing how it was going to go, what we wanted to make it, and so yeah, Spotify said we were in their top 25% of all business podcasts shared throughout the world. So we are really happy about that.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
And
we're
yeah,
having
people
a
don't
great
get it.
time.
That usually takes longer just to think about starting it than
Oh my
starting
gosh,
it. After you started, you're like,
it's
I should have
crazy.
started a long time ago.
Yeah, and it takes a while to build up an audience. We haven't even started marketing it yet. We are just about to really, go to that next level, and we're getting some help with social media and all that, because I don't know that side of the business. So we need all the help we can get.
I get it, but that's awesome. And going on podcasts, and talking about it, that helps too to
Sure.
get the listeners to know about you guys. I'm excited. I can wait and go and check it out. I love anything
Yeah,
business, and you're
yeah.
everything about fun. I'm like, heck yeah, hello.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. Yeah, so we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, and if you just go to the website, you can listen from there as well.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, what else would you like our listeners to know about you?
I'm make self-care a priority also. I don't believe in a work-life balance, and this is something that I talk to my clients about too, and the employees, that there is no work-life balance. Work is part of life, and you have to make it all work for you so that you don't get burned out or overwhelmed, or things like that. And even little things, today I opened my computer to talk to you, and I did one or two little things. I'm closing it. I'm going to go down to the beach because I'm originally from New York, and I live 3 miles from the beach there. I live 3 miles from the beach here. I'm going to go now and go for a run on the beach, walk around a little bit, and go visit some of the stores, basically take the day off, sit in the sun, have a cup of coffee or a drink or, something, and enjoy the sunshine, talk to people. Talking to people is a great way to play and just learn. And you never know who you're going to meet, who know people. It's a great way to naturally network, so I like to do that. And so I'm really into making sure that I have enough time to do the things that I like to do. I'm a voracious reader. I'm usually reading 2 or 3 books at the same time, business as well as pleasure. So and I love taking baths and things, and I love going to art galleries, and I draw and paint myself. So these things that bring me joy and keep me in the present moment are important. Stress happens with when you're so focused on everything else that's going on around you that you forget you even have a body, and the things that bring you joy bring you back to yourself.
Oh my God, yes. I love that you say that and you point that out. Self-care is like, oh, it touches my heart because like I just
Yeah,
learned about it. Like not learn about it, but like I more intentional about my own self-care.
sure.
And the past couple of months, it has been so hard with overtime, and I'm doing the podcast and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and my family is 8 family members and
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
crazy. So blended
Ah,
families. And I finally, after 6 months, I got back into diamond painting. So that's my way to get into arts,
uh-huh.
because I know I'm creative, but I'm very like limiting beliefs and things like that of what that means. So, but diamond painting is the one that brings me back, and that's just putting little beads into a huge canva to make
Wow.
an awesome picture. So
That's
then
good.
when you're done with the picture, you're like, oh wow, I created this. Like I did this. I put in the work into it, and it's the only thing that like really quiet my mind.
Yeah.
So lately, it's just being like, I'm done with the world. I'm done being a grown up. I'm
Right.
just gonna do some diamond painting.
Right. There you go. That's and I always say that, let's not play grown up anymore. Let's go play something else. And I want to make a point, something that you just said, and a lot of people have this feeling when I talk to them. People say, well, I'm not creative. People equate creativity with art talent, and that's not true. Art talent is art talent. I know people who can draw or paint or whatever, and can't see the forest for the trees in terms of taking an idea and seeing what else you can do with it. So my quote, and I actually I've written a class, a course called Innovation for Hybrid and Remote Workers, where my quote is, if you've ever had an idea, then you're creative.
I love
Because
that.
true creativity is taking something from nothing. And then innovation is taking what is and improving on it, or adding on it, or taking something away. So innovation and creativity go hand in hand, and everyone is creative in some form or other. Right?
Thank you for making the
Of
distinction
course.
and stopping
What
me
I
because I
do.
get it. I love it. Because it
Yeah.
is. I just started trying to switch that. Yes, creative doesn't mean just art talent.
Right.
There's so many ways to be creative and
I
things
mean,
like that.
look at novelists. My friend Paul Levine is a best-selling mystery writer. A few weeks ago, we interviewed him. His just got uploaded. Also, sorry, I'm losing the word. He was a showrunner, I think, for one of the programs on TV, or just a writer for it for many years. And he's a best-selling mystery writer, still writing, and his shows have been and probably will still be made in his books will be made into shows. And I've known him for a lot of years. I went to Penn State. He went to Penn State. And we actually met at an alumni event here in Los Angeles, and we became fast friends after that. So that was super fun. And he came on the podcast, and he's he doesn't paint, he doesn't draw, he writes novels. And they're, every book has a basic formula, because it's storytelling. We actually also have a podcast on telling better stories, and there are different ways of telling stories, the hero's journey, and setting up beginning, middle, and end, like a speech. But there's a bunch of different ways, and he takes it to the next level as a professional writer. The A story, the B story, the C story, that I don't know how to do that, and it's really interesting what you need to do for different areas of creativity when it's something that you find passion for, and that if it makes you happy, do it. Who cares if you're great at it or not? If you enjoy doing it, you're doing it for yourself, so it doesn't matter.
Heck yeah, I 1,000% agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my show.
My pleasure. This was really fun. I'm glad I could share the play information, because it's just starting to catch on now. So hopefully your listeners will do more things that bring them joy when they play.
Yes, I hope so too. I'm sure gonna work on it for myself. So yeah, tell us again the website and the podcast, so my listeners can find you, and I will put it on the show notes.
You can find me at www.playfulmindproject.com, or you can go to www.ronalewis, RONALEWIS.com. And our podcast is www.bizsouls, BIZ-SOULS.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. You can find my podcast on all major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and my YouTube channel as well. Like and subscribe. Hope you have a blessed day.